Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Lee Nelson. In the news this Wednesday, President Trump has visited Dayton and El Paso to meet with victims, first responders, and officials following the two mass shootings over the weekend. Investigators in both communities continue to search for evidence and motives as these two communities struggle in the aftermath of the nation's latest mass shooting.
Also today, the White House is inviting internet and technology companies for a roundtable discussion on violent extremism online. And tonight we are continuing our conversation about mass shootings and what follows that. Today's focus is on how to talk with children of all ages about traumatic events. And our guest with us now is Rebecca Hoffman-Francis with Maine Behavioral Health Care. Rebecca, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
How can we support our children and kids in processing information that is so heavy, like what we saw this last weekend?
Sure, it is. The most important thing is for them to see you as their parent or their trusted adult as somebody that they can go to and that they can ask questions. So being open to their questions and being a source of information is really important.
Okay, so being open is key, but what about for younger kids? Like, is there an age when maybe we shouldn't be allowing them to see some of this stuff?
Well, going on what I would describe as a media diet might be important for kids because children are not little adults. The way they process information is different than us, so if they see something over and over, they may think it's happening over and over again. So maybe limiting their exposure, but children find out things all different kinds of ways. So it's important to ask them what they know first, because you may be surprised that a young child might know something about what happened.
Sure. What are some signs to look for that maybe they're emotionally struggling with understanding something or just dealing with something?
So first off, when you ask questions, it's important to see if they have incorrect information and correct that in a developmentally appropriate way. And then if you see children, let's say, losing sleep, having behavior issues, having emotional outbursts, it's important to figure out why and maybe get some help for them, or at least help them unpack all that they're holding inside about what happened.
It sounds like it's important for them to have the truth, but maybe not the whole truth. Is it fair to say that?
Exactly. So even if the truth is hard for us as adults to even hold or conceive of, they're holding that times 10 because they don't have the skills of an adult to understand what has happened. So being supportive, helping them identify their feelings and giving them skills to manage those feelings can be very helpful.
I thought it was an interesting point you made too. Sometimes you might be surprised to find out that they know more than you think they do.
Right.
So,
Always.
right, as I will soon, I guess, learn as well.
Yeah.
But in that case, what do you do if they ask a question that maybe you just don't have the answer to, or you have no means of finding the words in that moment?
Absolutely, and some of this we don't have the answer to. And what's important is they know that it's your job as their parent or their trusted adult to keep them safe and to say to them, my job is to keep you safe, and I am going to work to keep you safe in this world. That's what they really want to know, is that they're safe.
Good. Hey, thank you so much for being with us
Thank you.
this evening. A discussion we'll continue to have, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Let's check some other news for you this evening. Elsewhere in the news, have you heard about all the commotion in Times Square in New York last night? A false alarm spread a lot of chaos through the crowded streets. People heard what they thought were gunshots and immediately started to run. Well, it turns out what they actually heard was a motorcycle backfiring.
Luckily, no one was hurt, but it was still terrifying for a lot of people there, including a woman from South Portland. Samantha York spoke with her this afternoon and joins us now with more. Hi, Sam.
Hey, guys. Yeah, probably not the best timing for something like this to happen, given there are so many people who are on edge right now following those two tragic mass shootings earlier this week. But Lynn Abramson and her husband were actually seeing the Broadway musical Hamilton when the chaos broke out. She said an anniversary celebration to the big city is one they will never forget. This was the view from above Tuesday night in Times Square as hundreds of people were sent running for cover.
You didn't know if you were going into the danger or not.
South Portland natives Lynn and David Abramson were attending the Broadway musical Hamilton when out of nowhere a door by the stage was thrown open and chaos erupted.
You could hear yelling and see lights, and the actors and actresses ran off the stage and people started yelling, get down, and people started diving under their chairs.
This rush of panic was triggered by a noise sounding like shots being fired. However, police quickly determined the source came from motorcycles backfiring in traffic. Abramson says she and her husband were able to weave their way through the sea of panic, but the time in between felt like something out of a movie.
When we got out to the street, everybody was going in different directions. There was a lot of police going by and parents holding their kids. I saw one couple kissing and crying, and I just grabbed my husband's hand and we were just going as fast as we could.
The masses of people rushing to find safety shows the stark reality of a nation on edge. Abramson says it's not hard to think the worst during a time when tragedy seems to be more prevalent than ever.
Hoping this world will be a better place than kind of what we're in at this moment, with the fear. And in that case, nothing really was happening, but people are in such a state of panic that, that's what, the minute we heard that noise, they took off.
Abramson and her husband visited the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island today, and they said the mood was very somber. They say people were definitely reflecting on an event that could have ended much worse. Guys, back to you.
All right, Sam, thanks. Glad it was a false alarm. We have known the Abramsons forever.
Really?
And so just glad they're okay. Glad you're okay, guys.
Very crazy. I mean, Times Square, people from all over the world are there. They all go to see that.
Yeah.
I'm glad everyone's okay. All right. The clouds seem to be moving in, Keith.
Yeah, it's pretty cloudy through much of the day today,
Yeah.
but it didn't rain that much until recently. Now we've got some showers and storms out there over the western part of the state, Oxford County specifically, and down into York County as well. We have one storm that was severe warned, but it's outrunning its warning right now, and the indications are it will likely not be re-warned as it moves into the south side of Sebago Lake here. Possibility of some hail still coming down from this storm, as well as some decent straight line winds, but it looks like it's cycling down now in the last couple of frames, moving through Hollis and into Gorham here shortly, and then just some light rain into the Portland area, Biddeford as well. A couple more cells to watch here. What's interesting about today's severe weather threat is it's largely to our west, but it's also not diurnally driven, meaning once the sun sets, we're actually still looking at a risk of some strong and severe storms. It is not driven by the sunshine. There's the another look at that cell there. Again, some decent winds, nothing that jumps out at me too much though. Current dew points upper 60s, so it is sticky. And you'll feel that if you go outside. You'll feel that again tomorrow. Our air mass is going to take a little while to replace itself with some drier air. Guys, the next 5 or 6 days look good, but perhaps not up to our now elevated summer 19 standards.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair warning, too.
Yeah. All
Thanks,
right.
Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Some news coming into the newsroom right now. Maine Medical Center has confirmed a child with chickenpox came to its emergency room last week.
Yeah, not a huge emergency necessarily, but you want to be aware that if you were in the emergency department between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. on July 30th, you might have been exposed to the virus. Chickenpox or varicella is an airborne disease. A lot of people are immune to it through a vaccination, or if you have been exposed before. But if you think you might have been there or come in contact with somebody with it, please call your doctor.
Coming up on News Center now, we're going to check out the big red carpet premiere of Patrick Dempsey's new movie, which hits theaters on Friday.
And when we come back, FedEx and Amazon are going through a bit of a breakup.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yaha.
So we were all in for that treat yesterday at 6 o'clock with that interview with Patrick Dempsey. That was really a great interview. It was awesome.
I was right there, but I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
But I know that it was fairly lengthy, so it must have gotten a lot in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. Good.
For those who didn't see it, we talked a little bit about it at 5 o'clock yesterday. But there was a special reason why this red carpet premiere of this movie that he produced was in Boston. Why
Right.
was that?
Well, there's lots of subplots that make it one plot, I guess. But this is a project he's been working on for 10 years.
Wow.
And finally made it. And at one point had wanted to star in it. Didn't end up starring in it, but he produced it. It has a cancer component to the movie, and of course you probably are aware of all the work he does with cancer patients and their families here in Maine. And so it was an opportunity to kind of spread the word about Dempsey into the Boston healthcare community, cancer community.
Sure.
And so it was a screening of the movie, and it was an event that allowed us to talk a little bit more about Dempsey Challenge, the Dempsey Centers, and that's what it was. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. No,
Really,
it was
really
it was really, really nice.
And Boston being such like a medical hub too.
Yes,
you
exactly.
know, I mean, it just kind of makes sense.
And there are similar, organizations in Boston. So the idea also was kind of to link up with them, see what they're doing that might be innovative that we could do.
Sure,
or
like
we're
Dana-Farber.
doing that might be innovative that they could do. Yeah. There is a kind of a holistic office within the Dana-Farber hospital that I think is doing some of the same things. So
It's great.
yeah. So and it was really, really fun. Long day, but really, really fun.
Mary, I'm sorry you're without power. She says no power, Lebanon Street in Sanford.
Oh, with it sticky like this.
Yeah.
Not good. I think when we turn on the air, it's more to take the water out of the air than it is to cool the room, Because I can handle heat, but when the humidity is bad, it's
Yeah.
harder. We're back with more news tonight with several recent reports of arrests made after online predator and human trafficking stings. Law enforcement officers all around the country are reminding parents about the dangers that apps could have with your kids.
The apps include well-known social media, dating apps like Snapchat, TikTok, and WhatsApp, as well as location-based dating apps like MeTime, Grindr, and Scout. We have the full list and descriptions of each of those apps at our website and mobile app. Meanwhile, police say parents and teens should know two things. One, once a picture or video leaves your phone and is sent to someone else, it is out of your control. And two, someone can use that picture or video against you. FedEx will no longer deliver Amazon's ground packages.
Yeah, the company says it doesn't plan to renew its contract with Amazon at the end of the month. Not a huge surprise here because FedEx had already ended its express contract with Amazon that covered air shipping. This announcement comes as Amazon ramps up its own delivery service program. And even with the loss of the Amazon contract, FedEx plans to expand its ground delivery service to run 7 days a week starting in January. And Google is trying to green up its business. The company says by 2022, all of its hardware products will contain recycled materials. The list includes things like Pixel phones and Google Home speakers and phone cases and charging stands, etc. Google says it has already started using recycled plastics in Chromecast devices and in the fabric on Google Homes and cases. And by next year, Google promises to make all of its shipments going to or from customers carbon neutral. There you go. NASA is trying to recruit regular people to help them with a very big project. We're going to learn more about the details on that coming up.
And a live look at Keith filling out that NASA application. Just teasing. His full forecast is coming up.
Hashtag blessed.
Authentic life.
Hashtag blessed.
It is cool. You are pretty much a big deal for being friends with Patrick Dempsey. I mean, not many people can say that.
I actually noticed that Kirk was looking more handsome because he was near him.
Who was?
Kirk Raddy.
Oh. Yeah. There's a, right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny.
We'll be at the mural.
At the mural.
At the mural. The mural.
I think that's how it works. If you're just in the proximity of it, you're.
He like radiates beauty to everybody who's around him.
Although he's not a very tall guy, and I think that's
No, he's not.
interesting. In real life, so to speak, a lot of like celebrities are shorter.
Yeah.
Like, how would that play with most women Like,
Sure.
I know
It
when
doesn't matter at all.
Well, if you're a
with him.
star, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Unless they talk and you're not a fan of what they say
right.
in conversation.
FedEx will no longer deliver Amazon ground packages. We've done that.
Equally good-looking
What are we doing now? NASA's
non-star,
TESS spacecraft hit a major
and I
milestone.
feel that the height might be a problem for some
Yeah,
people,
I
you
can
know?
see that being
And
an
Tom Cruise
issue.
was the other people talk about that.
Tom
too, so,
Cruise.
yeah.
I can see that being an issue. For me,
Which side am I on, Alex?
I'm just short, so it's whatever.
Oh, it's over here. Oh, scones.
Those scones are
I used to
unbelievable.
love scones when I ate scones.
So today I went out and shot interviews and video with 3 people who are new to the American Folk Festival this year. They all women. They make things, some out of their own homes, some out of like small office studio space they have, but they all do really unique, interesting things. And the last one we visited, she makes jam out of her own kitchen, and she uses scones to sample the jam, and it is unbelievable jam.
Jam is so good anyway, so if you get really good jam, it's like, it kills you.
It's
Yeah.
spicy. She uses it to marinate meat.
Oh, wow.
It's like a nice, it's a nice texture. Then she also makes curd that you could probably put in a pastry. But anyway, so we brought those scones back. She insisted. She
Nice.
just made a fresh batch.
Can you guys just step forward like a...
Sure. How's that?
Are we beautiful? Thank you.
Stand by.
NASA's TESS spacecraft has just completed a milestone, its first year in space, making new discoveries.
Yeah, and this is interesting. They're actually asking regular people to help them kind of go through these findings. Have a listen.
NASA needs your help to discover new planets, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it. Let's connect the dots. This all comes as NASA reveals it has discovered 3 new worlds outside of our solar system, including one that is close enough to a star that it could support life. The out-of-this-world discovery was made using a planet-hunting satellite called TESS. Now, NASA's asking people around the U.S. to help with its planet-hunting mission. You go to a website called Zooniverse, brush up on what you are actually looking for, and then start combing through the data that TESS is sending back. While scientists have created an algorithm that can analyze the info, they say humans are actually way better at recognizing the patterns used to detect exoplanets. So all you need is a computer and some patience. Who knows? Maybe you could find a planet supporting alien life.
New discoveries.
All right. So from computer geeks to computer geek.
I can tell when
Weather geek.
I can tell when none of us watch the story. we come out, we're like, cool stuff. All right, let's what's going on
Usually
next?
I'm asking Keith to show me Luca videos and
Yeah.
pictures.
Right.
Did I show you the video of him recognizing me for the first time on TV and trying to climb into my
No.
arms?
How have I
I'll show you
not
that
seen
later.
this one?
I don't know. It's just a huge oversight on my part.
Maybe a Facebook Live special.
Yes, it's cute. It's
Yeah.
adorable. In the meantime, I'll do the weather thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
If you
That's
feel
fair.
it's important.
Cindy likes the videos, Lee, just so we're clear,
Okay, gotcha.
of Luca. But
We're all a fan of the Luca videos.
he's all right. Okay, showers and storms out there right now. Severe ones to our west-southwest, but most of these have been garden variety. We did briefly have this cell here warned as it moves towards Sebago Lake, but it's no longer severe. In fact, it's dropped a lot of lightning off of itself as well, so might be a flash left out there. But for the most part, just a big downpour now. And another cell towards Naples. Typically, when we get a nasty thunderstorm or two, it's out this way. But these don't look like they're all that strong. And a few more firing up towards North Conway into Jackson. So we'll watch those because, as I mentioned before, today's severe weather threat is not driven by the sun. And so as we go into the evening, we'll still have more storms to watch and see how they track across New Hampshire into western Maine. Dew points are sticky. 60s, some low 70s out there. You'll notice that not only tonight, but into the day tomorrow, that it's not hot, but it's definitely humid, a little bit of a tropical feel with the low clouds hanging out there as well. So there are your showers and storms throughout the night tonight, off and on all the way till 3, 4 in the morning. And then tomorrow, the showers and storms looks like they'll be front end loaded through the first half of the day. And we might start to clear out here over southwestern and western Maine in the afternoon, but I think for a lot of us in central and northern and down east Maine, it's cloudy and there's showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. So it's not going to be a great day. And then Friday we start with a little bit of fog and clear out. Friday midday afternoon looks good, and then Saturday we start with sun, but we end up with a couple of showers on Saturday afternoon. So it's been a while since we've strung together several days of unsettled weather like this. But we talked yesterday about how it's a kink in the jet stream that's the problem. We're not racing things straight from west to east. Now we're kind of moving them around in a squiggly, if you will. That slows the whole process down and gives us some more unsettled weather. So, the weekend's good, but there will be a shower or thunderstorm possible on Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday will be cooler but dry. So, as I said before, just not living up to our recently found high standards of Maine summer. But if you said to me, what does a normal 7-day look like in Maine in the summer? It's about like this.
Right.
There's some really nice days in there. Monday actually looks spectacular. But there's some showers in there, and temperatures are in the 70s at times. I actually think Sunday will be interesting. Away from the coast, probably start in the 40s Sunday morning.
Wow.
So, feel that.
Might cool the lakes down a little teeny bit.
Yeah. Although it's slow, it's slow to do that. The lakes are still 75 to 82 degrees.
Yeah.
So if you want to go swimming, good place to be.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
All right, sounds good, Keith. Thank you very much. Let's get to more news here. The folks at Walt Disney have unveiled a new streaming bundle. It'll hit the market on November the 12th. It includes Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and the ad-supported version of Hulu. Going to cost you $12.99 a month, which is $13.
Yeah, not a bad deal if you have little ones at home, keeps them entertained. This is so Maine today, National Lighthouse Day. What better place to celebrate than right here in Maine? We're home to the most photographed lighthouse in the world, Portland Head Light, and lots of lighthouse photos from across the state were posted all across Instagram today. Let us know what your favorite lighthouse is.
And make way for the ducklings, a whole lot of them. Alfred Road in Biddeford had quite the traffic jam around 8 this morning, but it wasn't summertime construction that was the problem. A mother duck was guiding her ducklings across the 5-lane road. Karen Romano of Biddeford captured it all on video. It's a 2-minute journey, stopped 2 lanes of drivers in both directions, yet everybody seemed pretty patient about it. And they came in waves, as you can see. You can watch the whole video on our website and mobile app because it just keeps going and going and going. It's pretty funny.
It's just like the book. How sweet. So as you guys obviously noticed, Lee was not here on the desk last night. He and Cindy were down in Boston for a special event, the red carpet premiere of The Art of Racing in the Rain, the new movie produced by Patrick Dempsey. It stars Milo Ventimiglia of the NBC show This Is Us as a race car driver who falls in love with a teacher. That's played by Amanda Seyfried. We won't give away the plot, obviously, but the film is narrated by the family dog Enzo, and it is a tearjerker. It hits theaters across the nation on Friday. And Lee wasn't just there to watch, he was there to MC the entire event.
Yeah, we were there to support Patrick and spread the word about the Dempsey Center here in Maine and the Dempsey Challenge fundraiser coming up at the end of September. And it was really, really fun to be a part of that last night. We had a really, really nice time.
Really
Super
cool to
nice.
take the Dempsey mission beyond Maine, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
beyond Maine.
And like we were talking about on Facebook too, they're doing some similar things like that in the Boston area. It's great to link up with those people, find out what they're doing. They can find out what we're doing, and it was just awesome. It was a great night, right?
And you guys looked great.
It was lovely. Well, it's fun to get gussied up every once in a while.
Right?
That's an old-fashioned term, isn't it?
I love that,
Gussied up.
though. We need to recirculate that.
I like that.
A lot more coming up at 5:30, right?
Indeed. We have a serious teacher shortage in Maine, and we've got less than a month before school starts here. Hundreds of positions remain vacant. We're going to have that story coming up. Also, the Maine Public Utilities Commission is currently reviewing the sale of Emera Maine to a company in Alberta, Canada. Some are really concerned about what this is going to mean for customers here in Maine. So we're going to take a look at that. It's all ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
Sounds good.
We'll see you guys at 5:30. We're back with Raindrops after this.
No idea what that video was about.
I think the school video was late.
Oh,
So it was the school video for a while.
Roll the board over.
Awesome.
all right.
Leave that here now.
Teresa wants to place an order for nice weather for the 18th through 22nd of August. Her best friend for life is coming to visit. We haven't seen each other in 3.5 years. Thank you. Keith, what do you think? The weather, the weekend of the 18th to the 22nd of August. He says, oh no, it's a little out. I'm due October 2nd, which is less than, a little more than 7 weeks away, which is crazy.
Who's counting?
Yeah, who is counting? Who's counting?
You know, they say it's rude to ask somebody if they're pregnant at any juncture. However, I would. There's really only 2 questions you
Yeah.
can ask you, like, when does the baby due, or how long do you have
How
to
long?
live?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's either just the worst tumor you've ever seen, or
Or sometimes people ask, like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Because that could go either way. I got to see
watch
this.
and listen to him later after.
Is that your dad?
Oh my God. He knows you're on the TV. God, he's so smart.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He's not big, so he better be smart.
You really have to be careful about what you say around him now.
I know. Well, we're still listening to Drake, so hopefully he's... Okay, let's start full screen with that, with the piece of lure, if you will.
Oh God, that was cute.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah, this
He
is the
walked-
first time he's ever, like, noticed it, I guess.
Yeah. Not to compare dogs to children, but
But they're similar.
there was a day recently where they were doing their pet segment on the weekend, and Clay goes, oh, what is this, a dragon toy? And then he's like, squeak, squeak, squeak. And Lucy, our black lab, walks up and puts both paws on the media stand and looks right at the TV and was like, are you kidding me, Dad? Like, how dare you play squeaky toys with somebody else?
Very good.
She knew.
Oh, where's the open?
Oh, can we play it?
I don't think I can do the segment without it. All right.
Do we have it?
All right. Thank you, Bill. Better.
That's
Feel
better. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the this was a question actually posted via Facebook, and they sent me this from the Farmer's Almanac. We have a good relationship with them, so we're just going to use what they had. So weather lure was that every fog in August, there will be a snowfall the following winter. So
What?
the number of foggy days in August would determine the number of snowstorms you'll have in the winter. So let's start with kind of the obvious meteorological part of this, which is it's impossible. So seasons don't correlate. We talked about this
Sure.
before, how, okay, you have a record warm summer. What does that mean for the next winter? Nothing. The seasons don't really work that way. The only exception is if you're an El Nino or La Nina, there's just general trends that will go along with those specific events. But otherwise, there's no way to predict from one season what the next season will be. So using that in mind, obviously August could not tell you what the winter is going to be like. However, I figured out maybe where this came from, and a lot of these sayings have like a little grain of some reality, and so this is what I came up with.
Okay.
All right, so days in August, 31. So say along the Maine coast, 30 to 40% of the mornings or the overnight have a bank of fog that rolls in, and I think that's a fair estimate. Unfortunately, we don't keep records in Bar Harbor, Rockland, those places, a number of foggy days. But I've been there enough, and I live along the coast. I would say that that's about right, 30 to 40%. So that's 9 to 12 foggy August days a year.
Okay.
So then I went and found, okay, how many snowstorms are there on average every winter? And if you use 3 inches plus as the criteria, which I think is kind of how people think about it, under that is a dusting. Really up to 6 is a dusting, you could argue. But
Yeah.
that average number of snow events was between 9 and 10
No way.
statewide. So So it's not a predictor in any way. If you had more foggy days, this isn't going to make this go up. However, it kind of just ends up being about right. And the other one that's like that is red sky at night,
I was
Sailor's
just going
Delight.
to ask you about this, but
Yeah.
I thought I'd sound crazy.
No, red sky at night, Sailor's Delight, red sky in morning,
Sailors take warning.
Take warning. Okay, so this also doesn't predict the weather, but where it comes from is the high, thin cirrus clouds. So if you see the high, thin cirrus clouds at night, it would indicate often that the next day is going to be okay. If you see them in the morning, that means storms are probably moving in because you're catching them on the sunrise. So it's not always works, but it has a kernel of truth in there. So a lot of them are like that.
Yeah.
And remember, the Farmer's Almanac also has great meatloaf recipes. So that's like the main thing they provide.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Keith. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now. That's so funny that you did the math and that worked out.
Yeah, it's about right.
Bye, guys. That's so interesting.